All right. So now that you've got your website set up and you've got your developer tools enabled, it's time to figure out how they work. So the way we do that, the way you open your developer tools is you use two fingers and you click, or you can hit Command Option I, and that will pull up this toolbar at the bottom, and it's a whole bunch of developer tools. So there are four tabs that we're going to use, and so I'm going to start on the left and just work my way to the right. So the first one is this Elements tab. This is helpful for when you're looking at HTML. You can see that it pulled in our HTML exactly as we wrote it on our other page. And as we hover over each HTML element, it'll highlight it on the page. So we know that inside of our body element, there's the text, "Hello World." Something fun you can do with this tab, and this works on any website, is you can double click and you can change the text here. So if I was on Microsoft.com, I could come in and inspect it and change how the page shows up. So this, you can see it highlights our HTML, and that's mostly what you'll use this Elements tab for, is figuring out how your HTML is working. You can test some styling here. We probably won't use this tab very often, but it is a tab we might possibly use, so I wanted you to be aware of it. The tab we're going to use the most often is the Console tab. So this is our Console tab, and you can type into the console and hit enter. And so this is where all of the errors you have, when something crashes in your code, JavaScript is going to create an error. So I just typed out ASDF and a whole bunch of letters, and it said, "That's an error. That doesn't work. That's not accurate code." So this is a great place to look. If you're having problems and your code isn't running as you expect, the first place you want to look is in your console. The other helpful thing about the console is that you can type code into it. So if you remember back to the intro to JavaScript video where I talked about what JavaScript was, talked about coding languages, and I said that you can create a hello world message with one line of code. The terminal actually allows you to write JavaScript, so we're going to write that one line of code. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see my terminal, and I'm going to type console.log and then open parentheses, "hello world." And then I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to hit enter. And you can see immediately below where I typed the JavaScript, it sent the message, "Hello world." And now you've run your first piece of JavaScript. So that's the console's helpful because you can test any JavaScript you want here. It'll also show you all of your errors. The next tab we want to talk about is this Sources tab. When you click on Sources, you're going to see that there's just a whole bunch of information. The main thing you're going to see is that this HTML document shows up here, and it's got a bunch of HTML. On the left-hand panel, you can see that we're pulling from index.html. We're going to talk more about this tab when we get to debugging, but I wanted you to be aware that it's here. If you're overwhelmed right now, that's totally okay. You don't need to understand everything that's here. I just want you to know that this tab is here because we will be using it later. And then the last tab we're going to talk about is the Network tab. This tab is helpful for when we get to calling on outside resources because it shows us where those outside resources came from. So if I zoom out just a little bit, you can see that I requested two resources from this address. That's what these numbers are. And it looks like both of those resources came back. So everything necessary to run this page successfully showed up on this page. Anytime I have a problem with my website and something isn't loading properly, I'll come check the Network tab. And that will tell me what's loading and what's not. So again, just a quick summary. Elements tab, it's where you look for problems if you have problems with your HTML. Console tab, if you have problems with your JavaScript, this is where you're going to look. Sources tab is when you want to walk through your code, and we'll talk more in depth in debugging. And Network tab is when something isn't loading on your page properly. This is the tab you're going to want to check. All right. Thanks for watching.